Alright, hey, what's up, guys? It's Serb. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different that I haven't actually done before. I'm going to be going over the changes that are going to be occurring in patch 1.6, but I'm actually doing it via live stream. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just streaming right now, and then I'm just going to quickly go over all the changes. This is actually going to upload as a VOD, so all of you guys watching it right now, you're going to see the actual video. And I'm just going to quickly go over a summary of all the changes that I wrote up on a notepad here, and then once I'm done with that, I'm just going to elaborate on it and give kind of my personal interpretation of it, of all the changes individually, and I'll kind of just explain how I think it's going to affect the game. And then I'll kind of have a discussion with you guys. I'm just going to pull over the chat over here, and then I'm just going to respond to you guys and talk to you guys. So I think it'll be fun, but just for those of you that want to just know all the changes that are important that are going to be happening, I wrote out a list for you, and we're just going to quickly go over it. But then afterwards, then I will be delving more into, my opinion on everything and whatnot. So, yeah, let's hope everything works well, and hopefully this is cool. If you guys like this format, let me know in the future, and maybe, or let me know in the comments. I mean, maybe I can do a little bit more in the future. But yeah, let's just start off with all the changes. So basically, I'm just gonna be talking about all 1.6 changes. There's Alpha Bridge, Nerf, new Gearset. There's just so much here. I mean, just look at this. There's so much stuff. So I'm just gonna be going over into it. This is just as a disclaimer here. This is all we know as of right now. I'm sure there's going to be like much more changes in the future and more content that we are unaware of as of right now that they just haven't disclosed to us yet. But I'm just going to be giving a quick summary of all the changes made into 1.6, and I split it up into three subcategories, which is nerfs, changes, and additions. I just thought this was just a fun way to do it. I don't know. I just like to categorize it, but whatever. General info here. The date is still yet to be determined for 1.6. We don't really know that, but I'm going to be assuming that it's going to come out around the end of February based on previous patch releases like 1.5, 1.4, 1.3. They all came out at the very end of month, so it just makes sense for it to come out at the end of February, especially with the timing of the PTS and the ETF and everything. It just seems like it's going to come out at the end of February. It just makes sense due to the timing of everything. I could be wrong, could come out the second week of February, maybe in the very beginning of February for all I know, but just based on assumption and previous experience, it's probably going to come out at the end of February. It's also going to come out for all platforms at the same time, so those of you on PS4 aren't going to have to worry about having it delayed because all the exclusivity deals with Microsoft and whatnot, that's all off the table now. New year, new deals, so there's no exclusivity garbage that you're going to have to deal with, which is awesome. You don't need to own the Season Pass in order to get access to 1.6, as 1.6 is mostly just going to be focusing on balancing changes, etc. But it's also going to have the addition of the new incursion and the last in game mode, so if you want to be able to play that, you will need to be able to, or you're going to have to purchase a DLC in order to play that. And just as something that I know a lot of people are probably going to ask, gear score is going to stay the same, and all changes revolving around gear are going to be retroactive. So if there's a change regarding Barrett's vest, your Barrett vest right now is going to get changed. That's essentially what retroactive means. So let's get into it. Nerfs. Alpha Bridge. What do you expect? 4-piece bonus now shares a free talent from your weapons instead of all three. So, for example, if I was using a FAMAS, by the way, I'll delve into this more later, but let's not use a FAMAS example because it's not going to work like that anymore. If you're using a gun that has a specific talent to it, it's not going to work with Alpha Bridge anymore. For example, Uncomplicated is not going to transfer over. But if I have an LVOAC and a lightweight M4, and then my other LVOAC has competent on it, but I prefer to use my lightweight M4, I'm going to get competent on my lightweight M4, but I'm not going to get the other two talents that are on the LVOAC, if that makes sense. You're only getting one talent instead of three. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to be giving my personal interpretation and opinion and how this affects the game in my eyes after the fact that I explain this. I'm just going to do this super quickly because there's a lot of stuff I have to go into, and I know that a lot of you aren't going to want to hear me talking your ear off the whole time, so I'm just going to go over all the changes, and then afterwards I'll elaborate on it more. Hopefully that's alright with you. So that's a pretty big nerf to Alpha Bridge. Frontlines 4-piece no longer removes a critical hit chance. Instead, it removes the effect of any mods you have applied to the shield, so like the Ballistic Shield mod, that's going to get nerfed, or that's not going to be applied anymore, but you do have crit chance. I'm not really sure if this is a nerf or a buff, but we'll see how it actually ends up playing out. I never liked Frontline, but regardless, hipfire stability while moving has been decreased and a new hipfire camera has been added. According to Likebutter, this isn't a huge deal, but just hipfiring has been changed. Apparently there's just not a lot of visibility anymore when hipfiring, so I guess for people that despise hipfiring, that's a good thing, but for me, I like hipfiring, so we'll see how it goes. The damage gap between body damage and headshots has been lowered, so right now headshots just do significantly more damage than body shots, which is a good thing in my opinion, but I guess they're going to be bridging that gap more, which is interesting. And then when combat rolling, there is now a 1-second delay before you can roll again, which is helpful, I guess, just so there's not a lot of mobility in PvP anymore. And you can also no longer reload your weapon while sprinting, which is adding to that lack of mobility factor. And then survivability talents like On the Move, Battle Buddy, and Critical Save have seen some balancing changes. That's all they said on the notes there, but Like Butter actually said that they pretty much just got nerfed in half. So expect those to get nerfed pretty heavily because they were pretty much overpowered, and they might even get nerfed more than half. So I think Critical Save is, what, 30% now? So probably 15 to 10% even. Alright, moving on to changes that aren't necessarily nerfs, like you could see them as buffs or just overall changes that are helpful to the game, and then afterwards I'll go into things that are going to be added into the game. So, with Reclaimer, the set is going to be focusing on the support station. Its 4-set bonus activates all support station mods simultaneously, and it no longer has an effect on consumables, so you're not going to be getting consumables, but when you use 4-piece Reclaimer, when you put down a support station, it's going to be giving you ammo cache, immunizer, and that other one that I can't think of. So I don't know, we'll see how this plays out. Tycherson's authority buff only disappears after you use a skill as opposed to after 10 seconds, so that's a pretty decent buff there. This is a big one. Armor has been removed as a major bonus, and it has been replaced with health. Gear still comes with base armor, and some talents will still give base armor, or bonus armor, I mean, so that's a pretty interesting change. Again, we're just going to have to see how it goes out. Health and stamina are now your primary means of toughness, so I guess armor just based on your gear, which is awesome, but some talents will still give bonus armor. Not really sure what that means, but again, we'll just have to wait and see. Current health rolls now have been turned into the new stat resist all. I'm not entirely sure what this means. I'm not sure if it is resist all for status effects, or if it is resist all for just straight up damage mitigation. If it's just damage mitigation, that sounds more unlikely. That just sounds kind of overpowered. So I'm pretty sure it's just going to be resist all for resistances. And then pairing with that, resistances on gear now reduce the status effect duration instead of giving you a chance to fully resist it. So that's pretty nice. Diminishing returns have now been added to status effects. So basically, if I get caught on fire and then directly after my fire thing goes away, I get caught on fire again, then the duration will be significantly lower, hopefully. Bleeding no longer restricts you from sprinting, it just makes you move 10% slower, which is awesome, so that's pretty significant nerf to Predator's Mark there. Other parts of the game have been rebalanced as a result of this to make sure that time to kill and time to be killed stay balanced, so when referencing critical save and all the resist all things, that means that they've just rebalanced base damages on guns and a lot of stuff to pair it nicely with that, so it's not completely broken. By the way, all these changes are retroactive, like I mentioned before. Skill power has been moved to a system similar to armor, where each new world tier you reach will demand more skill power to reach the same effectiveness of your skill. So basically there's going to be a new skill cap in every single world tier, I'm pretty sure, just like the way that there's an armor cap in every single world tier that you go in. There's a bigger difference in skill efficiency between low and high skill power builds. Of course, this makes sense, so that's really nice there. Changes have been made to the sticky bomb, first aid, and shock turret. Exactly what those changes are, I guess they haven't really been described in the notes, but I guess we'll have to just wait and see till the PTS. Signature skills have been rebalanced, and it is now impossible to trigger a signature skill when you're already suffering from its immunity debuff, I mean. So that's nice. That was kind of just a bug where if you had like a tactical link debuff, you could use it and then it still wouldn't work anymore. It wasn't really a bug, but now that's just helpful. It'll just, so you don't accidentally override signature skills, because that would happen sometimes where I'm in a group and somebody would use it because they wouldn't have the debuff, but then everybody else for some reason still would because the timing was off. It's just bugs. So yeah, that's nice. Tactical Link's damage bonus has been lowered in PvP, so the Dan PH ult has been nerfed. Thank the Lord for that. There is no information on any other nerfs for ults, but the other ults aren't that OP. Tactical Link is pretty good, but still the other ults are kind of annoying, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. Medkits can now be used at full health to remove certain status effects, so you don't need the rejuvenated mask anymore, so that's awesome. So if you get to like full health, you can use a medkit, or even if you're not at full health, you can use a medkit to remove fire, shock, etc. So that's awesome. Medkits can now be used, that's what I just read. The rejuvenated talent on like high-end masks has been changed to give additional resistance to status effects, as opposed to when you use a medkit, it removes the status effects. So that's awesome. Might want to use that if you're dealing with a lot of people using flame turrets and whatnot. Adrenaline no longer gives an overheal from medkits, instead it will just give a heal over time, so that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if it can still be shot off or not, but we'll have to see how that goes. Your enemy's health bar will flash whenever they use a medkit, so if you see somebody use a medkit, maybe this is to pair with adrenaline so that you can shoot them afterwards. I'm not really sure how great this is, but it's just a nice little addition just so you can see when somebody uses medkits. That's cool. Unlimited recalibration has been introduced. The price increases each time, but it's going to cap out at 5 recalibrations, so you can pretty much just recalibrate an item in a limited amount of times without being restricted, and you're not going to have that pair of gloves that cost you 20 million to re-roll it anymore, so that's absolutely amazing. gonna conserve us a lot of currency and whatnot. So that's cool. Helping civilians rewards intel for HVT. So when you hand that poor person a can of food, they don't give you some crappy blue anymore. They give you some intel for HVTs or some other stuff possibly. And they also give rewards that aren't blues. They didn't really specify what those rewards would be. But yeah, that's a cool thing. You don't see those homeless guys very often, but when you do, it's kind of a slap in the face for them to give you like a med kit or something. So that's cool. High-end pistols in survival no longer cost division tech. It's funny, I was just playing survival and was complaining about that last night, so that's cool. Scavenger box now scales with world tier. I have no idea what the scavenger box is, so okay. Some item prices have been tweaked. That's cool. I'd like some specification on that, but I'm assuming there's like for pecan it costs 1.6 mil. I'm assuming they're going to be nerfing that down a little bit because that seems realistic to me. All activities now reward their own separate experience points and award their own caches, so you won't only be getting field proficiency caches. I guess they will be tied to the event that you're doing, so that's cool, or the activity, I mean. In survival, solo players can no longer end up in games with players queuing as a group. That's an awesome change, very welcome for that, because I do not like playing against groups of 4 when I'm playing solo. Grouping up while in a PvP survival game has been disabled. So yeah, that kind of pairs along with the other one. That's really nice. And then reviving a downed player in survival will always cost a medkit, regardless of if they are full down or just in the downed state. All right, that's all the changes. Now let's move on to the additions, the things that are going to be added in 1.6. Let me just move this up just so it's more center screen here. I'm just gonna do that. Am I retarded or does that work? That does not work. Oh, there we go. Nope. All right, hold on. Technical difficulties. You know what I'm gonna do here? I'm gonna do this. Copy paste. All right. You ready for this one? Boom. Bet you didn't see that coming. Okay. Additions. New currency purchasable with real life money that you can use to buy cosmetic items such as camo, skins, emotes, etc. Hopefully them adding this will fuel more development and then possibly even give free DLC in the future. This is an awesome welcome change. I mean, it's just cosmetics, so who can really complain about that? That's pretty cool. There's going to be a new incursion revolving around the LMB, which is probably going to be DLC. I'm not 100% if that's DLC or not, but based on past patches, it's probably going to be DLC. And then there's going to be the last end PvP objective-based game mode, which is an 8v8. Hopefully they add 4v4 and 2v2s and whatnot into that. Well, I don't think they can do 2v2, but hopefully they add different game modes and whatnot. That's going to be requiring the DLC, though. That's going to be added in 1.6, of course. All these things are 1.6. The Dark Zone has been expanded. By the way, those are the only things that require DLC. Everything else here does not require any of the DLC. Only the last time PvP objective-based mode and the new incursion are going to require the DLC, but everything else is free of charge. So, moving on, the Dark Zone has been expanded with 3 new areas. Dark Zone 7 and 9, which is north of Dark Zone 6 and Midtown East, and then there's been a bunch of changes in those Dark Zones. So, for example, in Dark Zones 7 and 9, they have new landmarks, which are going to actually feature waves of enemies. So, like after you kill the boss, more NPCs are going to spawn in a wave-based fashion, which is pretty cool. And then in those wave-based landmarks, they can reward you with additional loot that is going to be placed directly into your inventory, as opposed to you having to extract it. And it's going to be more loot, so there's more incentives for PvE players to go hop in there, and I think that'll be fun to try out. It's pretty cool. Also, Dark Zone 7 and 9 is said to have more verticality into it, possibly more versatility. Just like it's not going to be as confined as the current Dark Zones are, where it's just like lines of streets. You know, there's going to be bigger rooms, and it's going to be much more different. You know, just an opener, a bigger landscape. I guess I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't really elaborate on that. But they just said that it's going to be much cooler and not, you know, as constraining. And you know, it's always just street lines like New York would be. It's more, it's not linear, I guess you could say. I don't really know. Anyways. You can fast travel between Dark Zone checkpoints, so that's really cool. You don't have to walk into the light zone and then fast travel to the checkpoint and then in again, so that'll just save me time when doing weekly restocks. New contamination events have been added to the Dark Zone, so roughly like every hour, elite cleaners are going to spawn in the Dark Zone underground, similar to how supply drops work, I'm pretty sure. And then there's going to be contamination in those areas, and those areas will reach lethal levels. So your virus filter will only be able to resist it for a certain period of time. Like Butter said, that it goes pretty fast, but there's only a couple NPCs down there, so you could probably only do it for like a minute or so. You run down there, you kill the NPCs, and then you get some loot probably awarded to you, similar to how supply drops or maybe similar to supply drops give you loot, or possibly the loot just drops from the bosses. You know, who knows how much loot it will be. But yeah, that seems like cool. I mean, more stuff in the Dark Zone is always welcome for me. Leaderboards have been added to the Dark Zone. I'm sure most of you guys know about this, tracking a wide range of different activities, both in PvP and PvE. All tracked activities will be turned into a total score. Leaderboard rankings are divided into 3 tiers and will give out rewards when they reset on a weekly and a monthly basis. That's pretty cool. Hopefully the leaderboard rankings are actually relevant things and not completely useless things, if you know what I mean. Anyways, that's cool. So we're going to be getting some loot from leaderboard rankings, and if you're no life like me, you'll be getting extra loot. So that's cool for rewarding the no lifes. Alright, moving on. Legendary difficulty. This is awesome. The legendary difficulty mode has been added to Times Square, Warrengate Power Plant, and Napalm Production Site. And it features new, powerful, and smart enemies similar to Hunter. So it's going to be LMB, and according to Like Butter, they are extremely difficult to play against. And they're not going to be in incursions or anything. It's just in these 3 missions, but you're going to get a lot of extra loot from this, and it's just, for the hardcore players, it's the most challenging content in the game now, or at least they claim it to be, which is awesome. And then from doing these, it rewards you with unique vanity items, which is not available anywhere else in the game, and it's going to also give you regular rewards, which is great. And from doing the legendary difficulty missions, you're going to be getting exotic caches, and in these exotic caches, you can get exotic weapons and exotic gear sets or weapon sets, which have been added. And exotic weapons are basically weapons with their own unique talents. So, for example, the Medved, the Hungry Hog, and whatnot, their talents that have been specific to them are getting changed. Actually, none of those have specific talents unless it's like a FAMAS or something. But if there's any talents right now that have, or any guns that have specific talents to them right now, such as a FAMAS or a UMP or something, that is going to be called a exotic. And then all of the current named items, such as Barrett's Chest, an Urban MDR, etc., those talents are going to be changed a little bit, and they're going to be in their own category called exotics, which are going to be labeled via a red thing as opposed to yellow or green or something. So that's really cool, and then you can get exotics from exotic caches, which are available from the weekly reward from legendary difficulty missions. So doing those legendary missions, every single time you do one of those a week, you can get an exotic cache, or once a week, which is really nice. And then a new gear set called Seeker has been added to the game, where when you land 3 consecutive body hits, 1 out of the 3 hits is a guaranteed critical hit. I don't really know what to think about that, but now that we've gone over all the changes, I'm just going to see your guys' response to everything, and then we're going to just, I'm just going to elaborate on how I feel about all this stuff, and then we can just have a discussion as a group. So let me just pull this up. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you guys here. Let me just say hi. Oh, wow, that's a lot of you. All right. What's up, guys? 17 minutes? Wow, that took a while. Okay. Now let's go on into my own interpretation of these. You guys ready for this? So, how do I feel about the Alpha Bridge nerf? I'm just gonna go in order of everything, and then I can talk with you guys. I'll probably just pull up the chat afterwards, and then I'll talk to you guys. So, how do I feel about the Alpha nerf? Not 100% sure. I don't think Alpha is going to be viable anymore, but I really have to compare it against other sets to see. But you're not gonna be able to use Uncomplicated anymore, so that's still a big damage nerf. But the 3 set is still gonna be the same, and so is the 2 set. But it's a pretty well-needed nerf. Alpha Bridge needed to get nerfed. I mean, it was pretty overpowered. And having it only give you that 3rd talent might make it kind of useless. But again, we're going to have to compare it against all the other gear sets and see how that actually plays out. But I think you can still do the 100% ult build, which is pretty nice. The solo build where you can use an LMG and get your ult back 100% of the time. Especially with the changes happening to the Hungry Hog. I think that is actually going to be amazing. How do I care, or how do I feel about Frontline? I don't care. I never use Frontline. 4-piece no longer moves critical hit chance. I don't really know how it's going to affect it, so that's cool, I guess. Hip fire stability. How do I feel about that? I don't know. We're going to have to see. Like Butter said, that hip firing is still viable. It just makes it to where it's harder because there's not going to be as much visibility. So I guess that means that there's an increase in skill cap there, which is, I'm happy to see. I like more of a skill cap. But what I don't like is the damage gap between body damage and headshots has been lowered, which is effectively reducing the skill cap. So if you have potato aim, you aren't penalized as much for it, and I don't really like that. I thought the headshot multiplier was fine as it was, and then doing the damage gap thing and the new gear set Seeker, this is literally just promoting potato aim, because the new gear set, you land 3 consecutive body hits, and then 1 out of the 3 hits is a guaranteed critical hit. So you're literally incentivizing people to aim at the feet to the chest. and like it's not hard to land 3 consecutive body hits. It's pretty easy. I'm not really sure how this gear set is going to play out. I'm gonna have to do math and see the difference between body, or see how they bridge the gap between body shots and headshots, and I'm also going to see how much crit damage you can stack, how much crit chance you can stack with this gear set, and how it plays out. But if this gear set ends up being the best set, or even like a contender for the best set, like maybe the second or third best set in the game, I'm gonna be pissed. I actually really do not like the way that this gear set is designed. It's interesting, maybe in a PvE context, it's okay, but I mean, you're literally making it to where you're incentivizing people for not have as good aim. You should do the opposite. You should incentivize people for having good aim, hence Sentry, right? Why should you, oh, let's make a set where people with garbage aim get rewarded for having garbage aim, and then simultaneously let's make it to where body shots aren't as less effective when compared to headshots. I find that to be ridiculous. So, the devs seem to listen to Marco Style, and I am personal buds with Marco Style, kind of. So, and I'm sure he's opposing to this as well. So, hopefully he makes a video on it when the BTS comes out, and hopefully Wids does as well, and we can talk about this and get this gear set changed, because I am not liking the way that it is right now. Moving on, when combat rolling, there's now a 1 second delay before you can roll again. I don't really care about this that much. I never usually rolled in PvP. The only time I would is when I would get on a bleed, but now bleeding doesn't restrict you from sprinting, so I don't really care about this. I guess it's cool so people don't spam roll anymore. It's kind of fun to spam roll every once in a while, but it makes sense. They want to reduce mobility in PvP, so that's not really that big of a deal. You can no longer reload your weapon while sprinting. I never understood this. I heard Skill Up and everybody complaining, oh, you can reload your gun while sprinting. I don't understand why you shouldn't be able to do that. Maybe some of you guys in the comments can tell me. But in Call of Duty, you can reload your gun while sprinting. I don't really see the bad thing about this. The only bad thing is that it makes it to where when you reload in PvP, you're doing the strafing and whatnot, which I think removing that kind of lowers the skill gap, because people that can't strafe are not really penalized for not being able to, and people that can strafe aren't really being rewarded for it. So that's not that great of a change. But again, I'm just going to have to see how it actually plays out and see if it really affects me that much. But it's going to be weird in PvP if you're hip firing, and then you can still move, but I guess you can't sprint. But I don't know why they're restricting that. But whatever, is what it is. Makes sense, I guess. Survivability talents, yeah, on the move, battle buddy, critical save. They needed to be nerfed so that the time to kill is much faster and that not everybody's tanking everything. Regarding the Reclaimer set changes, just the set being focused on the support station now. I mean, I guess that's kind of cool. I have to see how it works. I didn't think that it was necessarily broken with consumables. I thought that was interesting. But we'll have to see how the support station works. It's probably not going to be very good in PvP, because with resistances and everything, and overall just status effects being nerfed, it's not going to be as good in PvP context. But maybe in PvE, for doing like the legendary stuff, it might be helpful if you're all in a constrained area, and then if they possibly buff the range on the support station so it covers more area. Could be cool. I never really use Reclaimer, so this isn't going to affect me a lot. Tactician buff, I mean, it's great. It's a buff. Tactician probably needed it, so that's cool. Armor has been removed as a major bonus and replaced with health. Thank God, hopefully they actually did this right. Armor was broken, and having it on gear hinders the developers in many ways, and also restricts us players from having a good build diversity. So having gear come with base armor is great, as opposed to having it roll. But it says some talents will still give bonus armor. I don't know what that means, but I don't know why. I mean, if you're just removing it from gear stats by itself, why have talents still give bonus armor? I don't know. I think there's no specification on that, so I have no idea what that entails. But let's just hope that that is not that big of a deal. I'd prefer that not even be there, but whatever. Health and stamina are now your primary means of toughness, so I guess health and stamina are considered different things, even though, well, stamina's on your gear and health is on your gear as well. But you know what I mean. They're different. They're different things. So let's see how stamina actually influences the game, and let's see if they change any of the other major attributes. I think that would be interesting to see, because if you can still get health from all pieces of gear like knee pads and everything, would it be worth it for me to now go for like 8% crit damage on knee pads as opposed to health, or is the tankiness still going to be relatively good? Is it still going to be like armor, just a different name from, armor changing to health? Is it still going to be that same experience, or is it going to actually be some build diversity. We'll just have to wait and see for the PTS. Current health rolls on your gear have now been turned into the new stat resist all. So if you have armor on your gear, I'm pretty sure that gets changed to health. And then if you have health on your gear, that's going to get changed to resist all. So for example, if I have a Barrett chest, I'm going to have armor and health on that. Going to get changed to health and resist all. How I feel about the resist all stat, it's pretty cool. Not that big of a deal there. I mean, I hate status effects more than anything. And I think all these nerfs to status effects are more than welcome. I think that there's no nerf here talking about flame turret. It says that sticky bomb, shock turret, and a couple other things got changed. But I didn't hear anything about flame turrets. I think flame turrets have way too much health. The range is ridiculous and they do too much damage. But hopefully with the diminishing returns and all these nerfs to status effects working together conjoined, hopefully that inadvertently nerfs Firecrest and flame turrets as a whole, because I absolutely hate flame turrets, and I'm sure most of you guys do as well. So that's a very welcome change there. Resistances on the gear now reduces status effect duration instead of giving you a full chance of fully resisted. I guess that's nice if you get a lot of resistances on your gear. Instead of having a chance for it to still hit you, it just reduces how long it lasts. That's cool. Diminishing returns has been added. Status effects, great, of course. Fuck status effects. Bleeding no longer restricts you from sprinting. Thank God. This is a nerf to Predator's Mark, and this is the first thing that I was worried about when I heard, where I knew that Alpha Bridge was going to get nerfed, right? Everybody knew Alpha Bridge was going to get nerfed, but the first thing that I was worrying about was, this is going to make Predator's Mark, if Predator's Mark isn't changed and Alpha gets nerfed, Predator's Mark is then the best set in the game because it restricts people from sprinting and it gives you AR damage, and ARs are still the best guns in the game, at least as of right now, because nothing's been changed. And then that bleed giving damage, that makes Predator's Mark the best set in the game. But now, making it to where bleeds don't restrict you from sprinting, Predator's Mark is gone. It's not going to be used, which is awesome. I hate Predator's Mark, so thank God for that. Other parts of the game have been rebalanced. Yeah, just time to kill, whatnot, that makes sense. Skill power has been moved to a system similar to armor. This is great. I'm pretty sure they're implementing what Marco Style recommended. I don't really use skill power builds. I might actually try it out though, with legendary difficulty being a thing and maybe team composition being necessary. That would be pretty cool, just to try out different skill power builds. I think this was necessary because the way that skill power scaled was a little bit broken, as Marco Style elaborated on. I'm not huge into that, so I don't really know everything about it, but I mean, it's a welcome change. I'm happy that they changed it. Hopefully they did it right though. Changes have been named to Sticky Bomb, First Aid, and Shock Turret. Not sure what they did to First Aid. Not sure what they did to either of those, actually. I think Shock Turret just, it doesn't do any more damage. Sticky Bomb, I have no idea. First Aid, no idea. I guess we'll see. Tack Link was nerfed. That's great. Don't want to see any more damn PHs thinking they're gods. That's cool. I'm not sure how much the nerf gets, how much it actually got nerfed, but we'll just have to wait and see, of course. You can no longer trigger a signature skill when you're already suffering from this immunity buff. Like I said before, I used to be in groups with people, and it wouldn't even say that we had the immunity buff, and then people use the ult, and then nobody else gets it. But now if it restricts people from actually using it when somebody has the immunity buff, that's great. And then you just wait. I mean, it's not, the debuff doesn't last that long. Was I saying buff? I meant debuff. Debuff doesn't last for a huge amount of time, so it won't be that big of a deal. So that's a great change. Med kits can now be used at full health and remove certain status effects. That is absolutely amazing. Again, a direct nerf to status effects. The rejuvenated talent has been changed to give additional resistance to status effects. They basically just did this just because they made medkits do what rejuvenated already did, so then they had to change rejuvenated as a result of that. So that's cool. I probably won't use rejuvenated because with all these changes of status effects, I'm sure all CC is probably not going to be as widespread as it is right now, which thank God. But again, we're just going to have to see how it all plays out and how the meta forms when actually playing in the game. Adrenaline no longer gives overheal from medkits. That's cool, instead of give a heal over time. Really not that worried about it. Adrenaline didn't work most of the time because somebody would just shoot it off, so I guess we'll just see how that works. Not really sure why they wanted to change that. They wanted to change that because of the status effect thing when you use it at full health. That's probably why they want to change that, just so it wouldn't give you an overheal, and so everybody isn't running around with an overheal, so that makes sense. Your enemy's health bar will flash whenever they use a medkit. That's cool, not that big of a deal. Unlimited recalibration has been introduced. That's amazing. I mean, I've wanted that for a long time, and I complain every single time I recalibrate. I mean, I'm sure we all have that one gun that we recalibrated in a limited amount of times, and we couldn't get the talent that we wanted, and it sucked because it was a perfect gun. So that's amazing change there. All these other things don't really matter that much. All activities now reward their own separate experience points. whatever scavenger box. I have no idea what the hell that is. Helping civilians, meh. Some item prices have been tweaked. Alright, cool. In survival, solo players, like I said before, they can't group up, or people can't group up when you solo queue. So that's awesome. I don't want to deal with getting 4v1'd anymore when I queue up for survival by a solo queue, so that's awesome. Grouping up while in PvP survival game mode has been disabled, so if you join a group and then somebody happens to be in your same server, you can't invite them. Or I mean, if you join a survival queue, so that's awesome. New currency. I hear people are definitely going to complain about this. Everybody, for whatever reason, it's probably Call of Duty and other games. They have demonized in-app purchases, or no, I'm thinking about iPhone games. Also, iOS games have ruined this as well. Everybody has this negative association when it comes to buying things in game. What's the word called? I can't think of the term for it, but just buying stuff in game with real money. It's just new currency. It's not that big of a deal. Like, you can't buy a God Roll item with it, right? It's just new cosmetic items and stuff, and I think that's awesome. I right here got myself some Steam cards that I was going to use on a different game, but I haven't redeemed them yet, so I'm probably going to actually use one of these for the Division, just to support my boys over there at Massive, and then buy myself some decked out emotes and whatnot so I can troll everybody and look like a god while I'm doing it. And then I'll use the other Steam cards for that other game. So that's awesome. This is just going to give more money to the developers, which I'm all for doing, and it's just for harmless stuff like cosmetics and whatnot. I'm sure there's going to be other ways to earn this currency or other ways to get these camos, so it's completely harmless. I think people just need to just calm down. It's not that big of a deal. Just cosmetic items, guys. It's in H1Z1. It's in a bunch of other games. Cosmetics are awesome, and hopefully in the future, due to them getting a lot of money from cosmetics, there's going to be a lot of rich people that are going to go in, oh, I have $100, let's go get every camo in the game and make myself look like a complete badass, and I can use emotes and stuff. That's awesome. It's going to fuel better development staff. They can hire more people. They can spend more hours into developing the game, and possibly they can make free DLC in the future. So that's cool. New encouraging, don't know any information about it, so I can't really comment on it. Last stand PvP objective basic game mode. I probably have a lot to say about this, and I could probably make a separate thing on it, but I don't like the fact that it's 8v8, and I don't like the fact that it's only one game mode, and I also don't like the fact that there's PvE involved. But again, like almost all these changes, we're going to have to see how it really plays out. 8v8s I kind of don't like because I have to revolve around, or I have to rely on my other teammates. I was hoping there would just be like a TDM game mode, which probably in the future there will be, and then you can just solo queue and you have the ability to solo carry in a TDM because it's not objective based, right? But if you're playing an objective based game such as Overwatch or something, if you have shit teammates, it's really difficult to carry. It really depends on the game though. But if I have to deal with really bad teammates, I'm not going to say I'm a god or anything, but I think I'm a pretty good player. If I have to deal with really bad teammates and they're holding me back, that's going to bother me personally. But hopefully they add like a TDM game mode in the future or something where I could just straight up just massacre people, because that's what I like doing. But again, we're just going to have to see how that plays out. And then the Dark Zone being expanded is awesome in my opinion. This has been needed for a while, and then with the way that Red Storm explained it and just actually showing the map of the DC, seems like they made great changes, and I'm glad to see there's new landmarks and whatnot. I'm not really sure if they're going to change mob density in there, because I still want to have PvP in there, but mob density is kind of a problem. Like, you step out of the safe house in DZ2, and then there's a pack of purple shotgunners, a pack of red guys with the hatchets, and then there's the elites over there at library, and it's just a clusterfuck of NPCs. And then there's the guys on the right, there's the guys on the left, there's the guys in the back there at the library. There's just NPCs everywhere, and it makes PvP a pain in the ass. So maybe they change mob density in the future. I'm not really sure. We'll just kind of have to see how it is in DZ9, or DZ7 to 9. But yeah, I mean, it's just more content, just more stuff to do, which is great. The main part about this patch is that there's just so much shit happening. I don't think we've ever seen this much stuff being added in the game, and I'm just unbelievably excited for it because I think it's going to get a lot of more people into the game, and some of these changes are amazing. The main thing I'm worried about, though, is the gear sets, because gear set balancing is something that the developers have had problems with ever since this game came out, and it's pretty much one of the most important things. If you have bad gear sets and bad balance, it's going to mess up a lot of the content, because if everybody's running one gear set and they have to play a certain way and they're forced to play a certain way, kind of messes up the content. It hasn't been super bad in the past. Alpha Bridge wasn't that big of a deal in my opinion. Like, yeah, everybody was using it. Yeah, it was overpowered in comparison to gear sets. Yeah, it needed to get nerfed. but it wasn't forcing you to play a certain way. You could just use, you know, it's just using a gun normally. It's not, you know, forcing you to use Predator's Mark so that you apply bleed on everybody. It's not forcing you to use Reclaimer so that you stagger everybody like it was 1.3, or forcing you to use Deadeye because everybody's running around 3-shotting. So, I don't know, I'm just ranting. But hopefully the gear sets are decently balanced, and I'm definitely going to be complaining about the secret gear set because I don't even know how it's gonna play out, but we'll see. Fast travel between dark zone checkpoints, that's amazing. Legendary, oh yeah, the new contamination events in the dark zone. Again, more content, more loot. There's nothing that could be bad said about that. Like, it's just, even if the content is complete shit, at least it's new content. At least it's new stuff for us to do. The game is lacking in content, so adding more of that is more than welcome, and I'm extremely happy to see that they're giving in to what people are asking for, right? Some things they're doing aren't the smartest, but I mean, their developers are only human. They can't make the game perfect. But a lot of these changes are awesome, and just adding new stuff is always welcome. So I'm really happy to see that they're doing that, and they're accommodating for the player base, because in all RPGs, one of the main focuses is balance and having stuff to do. And what we've had in this game is a lack of content, and so you're forced to PvP in the dark zone if you want to do stuff, or forced to rerun content that you're doing just for incremental upgrades at best in like PvE and whatnot. But now with a bunch of different stuff to do with survival, with Last Stand, with the legendary difficulties, with the more stuff in the dark zone, with HVTs, underground, all this stuff. There's so many different forms of content and so many options for you to do. It's great, and hopefully it will increase the longevity of the game and set it up for year 2 content. So the devs aren't as time pressed and trying to get stuff out because they know that the current state of the game isn't that great. But hopefully this patch will fix the state of the game and actually make it very playable and accommodating for most players. But moving on, legendary difficulty, I'm actually so happy to see this. I've been waiting for this ever since the game first came out. I really hope that it's actually difficult, though. I do not want plebs to be able to do it. If you are not good at the game, I do not want you to be able to finish this. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. I come from playing World of Warcraft, and if you did heroic raids in that game or mythic raiding in that game, you were probably a good player. You needed good gear, you needed good team coordination. You couldn't just go in there with potato aim and decent gear and be able to clear it, and that's not what I want to be able to happen. I hope that this is actually really difficult, so the good players like myself, I'm sorry if that sounds conceited of me to say, but I consider myself a pretty good player, especially with the amount of time that I devote to this game. I want good players like myself and my friends to be able to clear this. I do not want people that are not good at the game to be able to clear this. And that's not inherently a bad thing, because you're not getting anything from these legendary modes that you can't get otherwise. It's just vanity items, which really isn't that big of a deal. It's like if you see somebody in a vanity item and you're like, oh, well, I'm not good enough, but that guy gets to have that purple jacket. I don't like that. You're just... What are you complaining about? He has a purple jacket. It's not affecting how the game's actually playing out. You know, it's just a purple jacket. So that's awesome. You can get the exotic caches from doing these, though, so that might be a problem where plebs are complaining that, oh, I can't get my exotics easier, but maybe there will be other forms of getting their exotics. I'm not sure. But yeah, let's just hope that legendaries actually play out well. I want it to be difficult. I want the rewards to be worth it. And I want it to be where plebs can't do it. Pleb unfriendly, or unfriendly for the peasants. Moving on, named gear pieces and weapons are called exotics. Yeah, that's cool. Named items needed to be fixed. The only problem that I see with this, though, is that if they're making all the current specific weapons, like such as FAMAS, which they said they were going to do this, like weapons with their specific talents, exotics, and then they're making all the other weapons like Caduceus, Barrett, they're making all these things exotics. When you're getting these exotic caches, it's going to be harder to get exactly what you want if there is a specific exotic that's really good. So it depends on how prevalent these exotics are going to be and how many exotics you get actually from these caches. Like, is there like a 20% chance of an exotic dropping when I finish a normal just challenge mode of Lexington, or is it like a 1% drop rate like Barrett's is? And then when I do the legendary missions, am I only going to get one exotic out of that exotic cache, or am I going to get 3 exotics or 4 exotics or 5 exotics? And then is the drop rate going to be better all across the board, so that when I get an exotic cache, my chances aren't like 2% of me getting actually what I want, and then it even getting worse because of RNG factoring into that. You know what I mean? So hopefully the exotic system is actually set up correctly and not ridiculously rare to get exactly what you want. But then that'll make it to where everybody's going to be running around with a Barrett chest if they make it to where exotics are not super rare. So I don't know. There's multiple different ways they could have done this. I just would have preferred that they didn't make guns like the UMP, the Model 700, and the FAMAS exotics, because those guns aren't worthy of being exotics in my opinion. But maybe they changed those guns' functionality and their talents on them. I don't know. Again, it's just something that we're gonna have to see how it plays out. Exotic weapons have their own unique talent. Yeah, makes sense. If they're gonna be rare, they should have their own unique talent to make them unique and worthwhile farming for. And these caches are gonna be, yeah. Also, I forgot to mention this. Weapon sets have been introduced with exotics. So I believe the only example that we have as of right now, it doesn't even specify what it does. But the Valkyra, there are 2 different Valkyras. I don't know the names of them, but 2 of them are different. And then when you have both of them equipped at the same time, they both complement each other and they give each other bonuses, which is really cool. I was kind of hoping for this, and maybe in the future we get like an assault rifle sniper combo for a gear set, and then they give bonuses, and then they affect a certain gear set. I don't know. That could be cool. All right, let's just talk to chat now. See what you guys think about this, and then I'm probably just gonna end it soon because I gotta eat some dinner and stuff. Let's just see what you guys are asking about here. It's dick jousting. What is dick jousting? Seeker, the new gear set, exactly what I think. It's third-person shooter PvP. It will never be good. I mean, how so? Like Gears of War is considered good. What else is good? Here comes a shitstorm. Wood said he was going to use it. Wood said he was going to use what? What other games have third-person PvP that's good? There's a lot of games with third-person PvP. Here comes a shitstorm. Disturb, what build do you think you'll run just based off of this? Honestly, I don't know. It seems like that Seeker build could be really good. The Seeker gear set is a new gear set. It's pretty lame. If you want to see what that is, just scroll back into the beginning. Into the beginning of this chat. Here, I'm gonna listen to everybody. So I'm just gonna scroll up. DG, what do you look like? I'm sexy as hell, dude. Trust me. But based off this, I might run Seeker, even though I'm gonna absolutely hate it. But that might be the best set in the game. What else could be good? Banshee might end up being pretty good. Reclaimer, we're gonna have to see how that plays out. We're just gonna have to see how they change other gear sets and how that actually affects the game. Ooh. I don't know what just happened there. This sounds like a great patch that will make the game better. Yeah, man. That's what I hope. Yeah, but Woods will make it funny. Secret new build. I really don't want that build to be good. DG is interested in it. Interested in what? What kind of bullshit is this? What do you mean, dude? What do you think about the exotics? Would you be in favor of a trade system? A trade system... It depends on what you mean trade. Like, Phoenix credits or the new currency. So what, like I can trade Phoenix credits for an exotic? That might be interesting. I'd have to see how they would balance it, though. And what the rules would be on the exotic and whatnot. But if you mean just trading via player to player, I'm not sure how that would be. What's the alpha nerf? You only get 1 talent from it as opposed to 3. Don't be so fast to call it a noob set. Sorry, dude, but it literally is telling people to shoot people in the body. It's a complete nerf set. Why does it keep doing that? Luke, you're trash. Why are you guys talking shit about other people? At least there'll be more builds for one than one for people to play. Maybe. We have to see how it all goes out. Marco Style said he will quit if they nerf hipfire. PC crybabies. Hey, man. Hipfire is really important on PC, and if they nerf it, imagine PvP of just ADSing. Maybe that's how it is on console, and you have to deal with that like that. And some people do hipfire on console, but the PvP just ADSing, I don't see where there's skill involved in that, you know? But whatever. What happens to time to be killed with armor removal back to pre 1.4 struggle? I don't think the time to kill is going to be that fast because they substituted armor for health, but we're going to just have to see how it works out. God, why does it keep doing this when I scroll, dude? That's annoying. Alright. Seeker is going to be the new gear set in the whole world. Yep, exactly. Stop crying in a live stream chat and act your age. What is happening, bro? Hey Dad, what's up, Sectario? Seeker should be every 3 shot to the head. I think every 2 shots to the head, but it's hard because they make it to where it's simultaneous, right? So you have to land 3 shots in a row. So then it wouldn't be that good, but I'm sure there's many different ways that they could tune it to where it incentivizes headshots as opposed to body shots. They've proved that they can do that in the past with Sentry and whatnot. I guess they just don't want to be repetitious in terms of their creativity on gear sets because I already did that with Sentry. But if you think about it, they kind of did this with Deadeye too. But I mean, I think it's just incentivizing people to shoot the body. I mean, that's just absurd, right? With trade, I mean trading between players or selling for Phoenix credits or the new currency or even target intel. I don't know how trading would be with players, honestly, because then there'd be like sub-markets of people like selling, oh, here, I got a $50 lightweight M4 that I'm selling, you know? And that would kind of be an issue. But it's in other games to where it makes sense. So I don't know. I like trading, and I also don't like it. I'd have to spend more time actually thinking about it and thinking about how I think that it would affect this game, you know, and see how it would end up playing out. Fuck you, DG. I'm a noob. It's okay, dude. It should be every 10 shots. Every 10 shots? No, it's going to be completely useless if it's every 10 shots. They just shouldn't make it revolve around body shots. They'll make anything revolve around body shots and then just completely redesign the gear set. You would start low or high and adjust from there. I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about sensitivity. You were a Sentry shotgun equals no skill. Are you talking about me? Because I did not use that. Watch Deadeye become huge with armor loss. Deadeye could actually become pretty decent now that I think about it. Because right now it's not completely terrible. But Deadeye with an SVD or an M1A? Gonna have to see. Are you saying I need to start farming? Everybody needs to start farming. Just farm up a bunch of credits and just hoard as many gear sets and as many named items as you can. Because we still don't know how it's going to be affected. But I'd say just right now, just farm just currency, like Phoenix credits and normal credits, and then when the PTS comes out and once I make build videos and I explain what the best gear set is, then you can start farming for specific things. What about us tac builds? We've been getting nerfed the hardest. You got buffed this patch. What do you mean? Seeker's going to be a new build set. All you got to do now is get a lightweight M4, pump up your RPM, and you're shitting on people. Yeah, shoot people in the body, man. You can't wait for the new Reclaimer set. Like Butter said, it's pretty strong if you're going for more support role. Yeah, we're going to see how it actually plays out, though, in PvE and how the support station works. But I hope that it's good. Let's move up here. You'll body me with Seeker. Good luck, dude. They are removing caps on the sticky bomb. Really? Huh. We'll see how that works. This game is full of COD noobs that left COD. What do you mean? Were you a part of the ETF? No, I was not. I guess you could say it's disturbing. Wow, Sectario. I don't even know what to say about that. What's up?
Not much. I was gonna cook. I know I was supposed to cook tonight, but
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna cook tomorrow night.
Okay, so you're just gonna go out and get food?
Is freezer food okay?
I mean, I've eaten chicken for like the past 3 days.
Yeah.
I can order toppers, if that's all right.
No, give me like 20 minutes. I just had a crappy day at work and I just don't
All right.
feel motivated to cook dinner. So give me like 20 minutes and I'll grab orders from somewhere.
All right, no worries. Thanks. Yeah. Sorry about that. Life of a 16-year-old. Alright. Wow, this game after this patch will be trash, and I guarantee the secret class. Hey, man, don't be so pessimistic. All right, let's just we can hope for the best, right? And if so, how did the update feel to you? What do you mean? Oh, yeah, no, I was not part of the ETF. Scroll up yet? Is this out on PS4? It doesn't come out for a while, man. Because they're removing armor, people will be able to one-shot Seeker Mine people. Maybe. Depends on how they scale Seeker Mines and if they end up nerfing it. He should eat the chat stick. No, Luke, I hated that Sentry. Should have never been connected to a shotgun that had an aim assist. Yeah. Would you be up for twin SMGing that equip one on each hand? That would be kind of cool, but then you're tied to hip firing, but that would be cool if it actually works well. What's the alpha nerf? You can only use one talent now as opposed to 3. Will my armor mods be health 1.6? I'm pretty sure they will be health, yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'd actually recommend farming up some crit chance mods on because that might actually be pretty good. Jessamine, hey, what's up, dude? I think I know you. Didn't you play with what's his face? All you're doing right now is prejudging on things you don't even know yet. I mean, there's a lot of things that we do know, and you can make some assumptions based on that, but we're really not gonna know how it plays out until we play it, right? Oh my god, why does it do that, dude? Let me get in your Voltron and form the mighty lion with you. What are you talking about? How do you feel about the Last Stand 8v8 PvP? I have to play it to see how I feel about it, you know? But let's hope that it's good. What's good? What's up, dude? What are they doing to Alpha? Making it to where you can only use one talent. Yeah, mercenary, just tell everybody. Massive said they were shutting down servers if this patch doesn't work. This was leaked by a developer. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt they're going to shut down servers. The game will still be there. It'll probably just be dead, and then they'll probably just work on a sequel at the very worst. But I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think there's going to be Year 2 DLC. Because for them to wait until this patch comes out and then see how the patch goes before making any Year 2 DLC makes no sense. Because then it would take them a month to figure out how it actually affected the game, and then afterwards they're going to be like, oh, well, we didn't do anything for a month. So I guess we should start making content now, and then there'll be like 3 months of no content, and then that'll inadvertently hurt the game, and then they're not going to spend money developing the game that they might end up shutting down. That just doesn't make any sense. They're probably going to do Year 2 DLC. You can one-shot Secret Mine people with 500k toughness. We're going to have to see how it plays, though, right? It could end up getting nerfed. Secret Mine, so we're going to have to see. Do you think the high-end build would be the meta 1.6? High-end builds are the second best builds in the game right now, next to Alpha Bridge. So with Alpha Bridge being nerfed and nothing else necessarily rising to the top, high-end builds are going to be the best, yeah. So I'm specifically farming for Serpent Knee Pads and Blitz Holster right now. It's almost better than Alpha as it is right now. So considering the fact that they haven't made any changes to the high-end build, or at least that they have voiced, yeah, it's probably going to be the best build. I completely spaced out on it, so thank you for reminding me about that. But yeah, I actually have a high-end build, so I'm going to use that most likely. New emotes, yeah, that's awesome. So you get to choose what talent you can use from the secondary. No, it's the talent in the free slot. So I guess you can choose. Only the bottom talent is available, yeah. I agree, high-end is second best. What do you think about making more focused skills like Rainbow Six Siege? I didn't play Rainbow Six, so I'm not really sure. The division is being canceled due to mini circle jerker outside this checkpoint. Alright, dude, I'm just going to stop listening to you, bro. Did you do the reset or not? Yes, I did do the reset. Alright, guys, it's been 52 minutes. I'm pretty hungry. I think I went over everything that I wanted to go over, and I've had some pretty good chats with you guys just going over everything. So, yeah, hopefully you guys think the changes are going to be good, and yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. By the way, if none of you have seen my weekly vendor restock and you are interested, I posted it. This week was pretty garbage, but yeah, guys, just get ready for 1.6, farm some high-end stuff, farm some Phoenix credits and normal credits, and buy the DLC, because I really think this patch is probably going to be the best patch that this game has ever seen. Even though that a lot of these changes I don't necessarily agree with, I still think that it's going to go, that it's going to be the best patch in the game, because there's a lot of stuff they're adding, a lot of content, and then with the fact that a lot of these other things have been changed, it's great. Here I'm going to, if anybody, or actually, yeah. Alright, guys, I was going to say something, but I'm just going to go. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Have a good weekend, guys. I might stream tomorrow or something, but yeah, we'll just see how everything goes in the PTS, and let's hope that this patch is really good. Alright, guys, see you guys later. Hopefully you enjoyed, and yeah, thanks, guys. Peace out.